All right, folks, a good evening to you. Welcome to another date on Journalist Hangout. I am Citizen Jones Hussein, and today on the program, we have two key things to discuss with you. President Buhari visits Plateau State, says it's unjust to say silent on killings by herdsmen, as herdsmen killed two soldiers in Benue State. And later on, JJ Okocha slams sloppy Odion Igalo as Super Eagles crash out of the World Cup. I'm hanging out this evening with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Jide, I greet you. Good evening.
I greet you.
Of course, we also have Asukwo James. Welcome, Asukwo James.
Citizen.
How are you, Asukwo?
Cool.
I hear you have recovered from your loss of yesterday.
I'm trying.
Okay. Okay, the team is ready. I hope you are ready too. All right then, our country is dealing with a very formidable enemy in these interesting times. Explaining the orgy of mindless violence in our environment, more so in supposed peacetime, to a 6-year-old boy is a very tall order. The killings in Plateau State defy kindergarten logic. President Muhammadu Buhari led a high-powered team to the troubled area for an on-the-spot assessment. The #1 citizen faulted the claim in some quarters that he was being silent on the killings carried out by suspected herdsmen in parts of the country. He went further to stress that he was so blamed because, in his words, he looks like them. But it's asking too much. Is it asking too much if we ask for decisiveness in his dealing with the situation, Jide?
Yes, that's what Nigerians want. They want to see decisive action. We may not have evidence that the president is silent, but they want to see concrete action taken. They want to see people arrested, brought before a court of law, and served justice. We've been talking about this for some time, and the vice president was in Plateau State yesterday, and he said nobody involved in that carnage deserved to escape justice. That's what we've been saying. And I'm saying that the army announced to Nigerians, the defense headquarters, that it arrested 162 killer herdsmen. That was in March.
Suspected killer herdsmen?
Yes, that's how they describe them.
Okay.
I'm quoting them. That we have arrested 162 killer herdsmen, and they killed 18 of our own men. Out of the 162, 147 were arrested in Benue alone. So the question is, where are they? Why haven't they been taken before a judge? It is a big problem in our country.
You are not saying this with prejudice to the process of investigating?
It should
you have to conclude
investigation. You see, how did this arrest happen?
All right.
These guys were engaged in shootouts with the army. The army announced that it lost 18 officers. Just the same way that some herdsmen killed 2 soldiers yesterday in Benue. So it's not going to be difficult to investigate such people, because the army didn't just go inside people's homes to drag them out. They were involved in shootouts with these guys. So it shouldn't take eternity to investigate and then take them before a judge. That is what we are saying. Until Nigerians begin to see examples made out of these killer herdsmen, honestly, the killings will continue. And we don't want the killings to continue. That is the point.
For whatever reason.
We don't want the killings to continue.
Asukwa, let's tag along. In that light, the president appealed to Nigerians to avoid inflammatory utterances that could endanger peace and promote conflict.
Yes, I think at this period, at this particular time, it is pertinent for all Nigerians, especially religious leaders, to be restrained in their utterances. Because Nigeria, no doubt, is divided along ethnic and religious lines. And whatever I've noticed in so many times and so many ways, whatever maybe a pastor or an imam says in his church or in the mosque, it goes deep down into the followers, you know. And
because of the big influence they will.
Exactly, you know. No matter how small your church may be, no matter how small your mosque may be.
Or how large.
Or how large, you know. A pastor or an imam has serious influence on the people that are coming to worship God, you know. Yes. So at this period, it behoves on all, particularly the religious leaders, because I think they are the ones that we need to start begging, you know, to, you know, be restrained in whatever they are passing to their followers. Because if they bring out anything, if they alter anything that is contrary to what will give us peace, it means everybody will begin to have this hatred amongst ourselves. And that is why the president and the government is now telling us that, come, our utterances should be watched, our statements should be watched. I think we should just give it to the government now. Now that the president has said, okay, they want to rejig the security structure, they have sent out as many policemen as possible, because I know the intelligence response team, they're on ground now. We want to see how far they will go, because we want people to be prosecuted for these mindless killings.
Okay, then we'll take a breather. The debate continues. Just to welcome Gani Kayode Balogun. Okay, then let's meet and greet Gani Kayode Balogun, a.k.a. GKB. GKB, I greet you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Yeah.
All right, then join the fray. Mr. President says it's unfair to assume that he had not been doing anything regarding the killings.
It's also unfair for him to say that it's unfair.
Okay.
Because in the last 3 years, we've spoken about things that are needed to be done, both for our internal security and for other areas as well. Remember, and I'm telling you with authority, as of today, the last time the federal government bought vehicles for the Nigerian police was last year. This year, only Dangote bought 150 cars. The entire Plateau, as the new cars they have for operations, is about 3 out of these 150 cars. And we're talking about 21st century, when the police, not even the army this time, who are in charge of internal security, in a case like what happened in Plateau, should have been airborne. They should have a airborne division or department, whatever they call it, to ensure that once they get information, they can move quickly, not by road, which are extremely bad, but by air. So that means they have the room and the ability to move there. There's only 5 functioning APCs in the entire police force in Nigeria today. I'm sure Plateau has only 1 or 2. And these are things that are bought by the... You think this is deliberate? No, I just answer your original question, basically that you asked. If you don't look at the problem, and we are looking at the symptoms, we continue
cure the cause.
So I'm giving you the things that we need to do for the man to say it's unfair. And how many vehicles has he bought for the police this year? I'm deliberately leaving out the army, because it's an anomaly. Of the for the army to get involved in internal security. And so on. I'm talking about those who are primarily given that duty to do. What do they have? Today, I know police officers, very senior ones, who are very reluctant to go on operations. JKB, let me stick with you a little, some more seconds. Now, let's even stay there and look at the problem. Cure the cause. What do I mean? The problem has been a long time coming. And I'm giving you the solution.
We're looking at citizenship. I mentioned it, settlership, indigenship. Our constitution has not addressed it. And the constitution will not which is at the core, at the bottom of the palaver there. Again, you cannot deny the fact that if you meet somebody in a place, the person there is the indigene. It doesn't matter if he comes in a day earlier. It's of no relevance. And I think we are asking for too much by insisting. Like the president is saying himself that everybody must live together in harmony when you've not addressed the basic fault lines in the system. And as people keep saying, let's restructure. Let's identify those areas. What are the roles of indigenes? What are the roles of settlers? How long do you have to be a settler? Or who is a citizen? Or who is an indigene?
I didn't use citizen. Everybody is a citizen. That's right. That constitution is clear. You are all citizens of Nigeria.
Okay.
You are all citizens of Nigeria. I'm talking about who is an indigene.
Okay.
And who is a settler. How long do you have to be in a place to be referred to as a settler? What are the parameters used to make you
in
not
the course
be a
of the
settler?
evening, you'll get to know the citizenship element. Jide, again, peace is not, sorry, Mr. President is saying there's injustice in the aspersions.
Oh, well, the president...
Those are his words?
Yes, the president has every reason to feel that way. I personally think that the president gave a directive when he went to Taraba. He said any herdsman carrying an AK-47 should be arrested and brought to justice. He gave that directive. So whether the armed forces are carrying out the directive of the president the way they should is a question that we need to find an answer to. Because, look, no matter the body language of a president, if he has told you, look, crush these killers, anyone carrying an AK-47, you must arrest. But if the security forces choose not to do that, then you cannot say that the president did not give an express directive. I know, for example, in Taraba, that the killings have stopped. Why? Because they've had stakeholder engagement, and of course we have the Air Forces, special forces, working on ground to stop the killings. They used to kill themselves like fowls in Taraba. But they've been able to stop that. The president went there, the people had meetings, and they agreed that we will have peace. That happened in Plateau too.
Yeah.
They agreed that they will stop killing one another. A football match was organized between the Fulani and the Birom.
Exactly.
And to promote peace, organized by the STF, the army. And all of us were happy that the era of this killing people like fowls had ended. But the truth is, if we agree, if we come to a round table and we agree that we'll stop killing one another, we have to ensure, the warring groups have to ensure that no one breaches that agreement. Because the day any of the parties breaches that agreement, then they will return to the era of violence. That's what happened in Plateau. I talked about what happened late last year when the young Fulani Herdsman, boy, they were looking for him for days, only to discover him dead in a farm. People ask me, oh, so are you saying that was what is responsible for the current killings? No. But that is what is responsible for the return to violence. Because I warned on this program that that was going to happen. And the moment that thing happened, Plateau returned to violence again. The same thing in Bachama, when Fulani women and children were murdered in their sleep in Adamawa State. I warned, I said, reprisals will happen. And it happened. We had to deploy the Air Force, you know, to go there and quell the violence. But before they were able to stop the killings, people had already died in hundreds. So this is the thing. If we agree to make peace, nobody should breach the terms of the agreement.
All right. It's only natural. We'll take this breather and come back. Please don't go away. Okay then, not news anymore. Mr. President visited Plateau State yesterday, says it's unjust to say he's doing nothing about the killings across the country. Asuko, Mr. President had said before now that he suspects some unseen forces, unnamed if you like, behind these things. Otherwise, I'm saying it pays some people for the violence to continue. Don't you think so? And can't you give them place a little finger on that?
Well, it depends on the set of people that you want to.
Because violence in our country sometimes is a diversion.
Yes, we know, but the thing is if we say it pays some people, it doesn't pay so many people. Because if you look at, anytime there's violence, like the one that is happening now, anytime there is violence, the government is bound to have issues. They are going to start thinking about how to take care of people who originally have their income without, more or less without government support, just supporting themselves, maybe through farming. But now government will now have to find a way to support them because you've originally or automatically turned them to IDPs. You know? So those who are gaining from it, they know why they are gaining. It might be political, it might be economical, but the thing is, it doesn't pay. It doesn't pay the generality of Nigerians, especially those who are affected right now. Because if you look at it, there's no part in the north that is not affected one way or the other by violence. Is it Zamfara? Is it Benue? Is it Nasarawa? Plateau? So
down south.
Everywhere
down
is
south.
being affected. Okay, recently we heard of Cross River as well as Ebonyi. You know, that one is even a land dispute.
If not a border wahala,
it has to be a herdsmen, things like that. So it doesn't pay anybody. Perhaps it's paying those who are selling these arms to people who are causing the violence. But it doesn't pay the generality of Nigerians because we no longer sleep with our two eyes closed.
Okay.
You know?
GKB, some people who claim they hit violence in our country are busy doing that while their apostles are involved in the killing.
Yeah, that's to be expected. People will benefit from any situation, whether it's war, whether it's flood, whether it's natural disasters. Always there will be somebody making money out of somebody else's misery. It's the human nature to do that. But that does not excuse the president as commander-in-chief to say that he has given orders and they've not been obeyed and there were no consequences. The essence of power is the ability to use it. And the first function of government is security. Even back in our traditional ways, the reason why we have obas and kings not to go to farm is for somebody to sit somewhere and think for us. So I will do the job. So he was elected basically to provide one, security, then two, work on the economy. On the first part, nobody in his right mind. Because if you say that you give orders to the IGP, nothing happened. You give orders to the Chief of Army Staff, nothing happened.
Service chiefs.
Ultimately, they know there will be no consequences. Okay. So there is no motivation to do anything. But this president has shown, either because, like he said, he's trying to be seen as a Democrat, so he doesn't want to go back to his old ways, or he doesn't have the ability to discipline them. Because the people will continue to benefit, knowing fully well that there will be no consequences. For example, you and I know on this program, how many times you've shouted about the IDPs, what's happening in those places, that is mass inhumanity to man. Not one person has been sanctioned. On radio programs, in the last 1 year, a lot of people have come on radio, as you know, mentioning the same thing, even mentioning names. So far, nothing has happened. We are a country of lawless people. And once the leader of the country does not deem it fit to provide leadership by holding the cane, then I'm afraid we are just going around in a circle.
I just hope that will not provoke the human rights Jide. Here we go again.
No, the president's action can certainly not provoke any noise making on the part of civil society organizations. I'm convinced that CSOs in Nigeria have not done well enough. You see battles that CSOs should naturally take up. You see them not doing anything. People are being killed. Life has become so cheap in our country, and they are doing nothing. They are not making any noise. They are not organizing rallies, you know, to draw attention to the need to fix security in our country. You know, so the president has to provide leadership. We've demanded that in the area of security, he has to provide leadership. It will appear that the achievements recorded in the Northeast, the peace that we have, the relative peace that we have in the Northeast, has gotten into the head of the president. And as I always tell people as a historian, the spade work for the successes recorded in the Northeast was done under the Jonathan administration. Before the election, those towns were reclaimed. If anybody who knows how to use Google, even if you use Google, and you ask, when was Goza reclaimed from Boko Haram, you'll see that it was before the election. Now we have relative peace in that area. The president has to rejig the security apparatus of our country. He made that promise to the Senate president, because I remember that the Senate even passed a resolution that the service chief should be removed and changed. So the president now, this is an opportunity. He has to do it now.
Yeah, okay. Bear your fangs if it's the only way to go. Why not? Jude is here in Lagos. How are you, Jude?
I'm fine. I'm very, very fine.
Yeah, depressing times. But as they say, they should.
Make my own contribution.
Yeah.
Presently, every person is being told to go and get PVC. But many people know that our problem is not PVC. In this country, we have 4 types of elites. We have the political elites, the religious elites, the traditional elites, and the economical elites. The political, religious, and traditional elites are fair Nigeria. Why not try the economic elites? We have people like Dangote, that Enoga, that are contributing immensely for this country. Dangote has the highest industry in this country. He has done a lot.
Jude, are we discussing the subject matter?
No, yeah, I'm discussing the subject matter.
Go straight there. Time is important here.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is this. We don't need a PDP or APC to move forward. The killing has to stop. The only way you can stop this killing is to avoid.
Jude, we agree with you totally. Jude, we agree with you totally. Thank you.
Appoint any other person.
Okay, thank you. Jude, as a matter of fact, we echo that. We rubber stamp it. We don't need an APC or PDP solution. We need a Nigerian solution to the problem. Yeah, Jude, before I pass over.
Yes, so what the president needs to do now, we are saying that the service chiefs are already stale in terms of what they can deliver. And we've seen changes. Even in the Northeast, we've seen the Chief of Army Staff replace commanders of theater commanders of Operation Lafia Dole, replace GOCs for 7th Division in Maiduguri. Today, progress has been made, especially under the current leadership of the theater command. In fact, the governor of Borno State came out to say Rogers Nicholas is the best soldier, the best theater commander, you know, to work in Maiduguri.
Which is saying the beautiful ones are still here.
Yeah, which means that if it can happen, because when was the last time that Boko Haram carried out a military-style attack? It's a long time, you know? So, which means that if Rogers Nicholas can make that change happen, it means there are still people within the army who can replace, or within the armed forces, who can replace the current service team. In any case, they've overstayed their weapons. The president just extended their... So the promise that he made, because our president has a history of making these kind of promises and then we won't see anything happen. The promise that he made to Saraki and Dogara today, that he will rejig the security structure, he has to bring it to fruition. We want to see him do it. Otherwise, every day we'll be shouting here and talking and reminding him until he does that.
The promise he made about his cabinet before I left the country.
We want to secure people's lives. If he likes it, may not change his cabinet. People are dying.
Let me go technical. Intolerance in our country is a form of violence.
Yeah, I definitely, because I think everybody...
You see the imagery?
Yeah, exactly. You know, any little thing, we just flare up.
What do I mean? By stretching the logic, you are out of power, you must seek relevance. It's a part of the problem.
Citizen, you know, the one thing about power is sweet. I don't know if anybody that has tasted power is...
You've been there.
No.
Okay.
He's a journalist. I'm a journalist.
It's always powerful.
It's only the pen that is mightier than the sword, you know. So anybody who is a politician that have tasted power will want to stay there. They want to maintain that level. So more or less that once they are there, they don't want to leave.
But is that why this
this is not.
These killings have nothing to do with politics.
It has nothing to do with politics. It's just sheer, how will I put it?
Coincidence?
No, it's not coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
I think it's not. There's no innovation.
And another thing, because we just as he said, if there's intolerance, if your cattle trample on my farmland,
that's what I mean.
I go violent. That is what is happening.
Intolerance is a form of
violence. Someone was telling me
that
a farm that this IITA in Ibadan, a farm that they actually bankrolled for him, that cattle fed on his crops, destroyed everything, but I didn't resort to violence. You know, but it's not every Nigerian who has that patience. Yeah. They will resort to violence, they will poison the cattle, and the cycle of violence will continue.
You know, I think we should all have maybe the forgiving spirit, the tolerant spirit.
With the back account, you are yet to pay.
Because if we have it, can
you go to the back and tell them that my farm was sitting at the house?
Then the violence will continue.
No, we have to be realistic. I'm all for the theory. But the reality here is that poverty is high.
Do you know poverty is a form of violence?
It's also a form of intolerance. It's also the key to what you are calling intolerance.
That's it, yeah.
But some very poor countries are also amongst the most secure.
But they have
the most peaceful too.
They have laws that they obey.
But
there's security, because our problem is largely security.
Yes. Look at the word violence as a loose term.
I do.
Intellectual poverty is even worse.
Intellectual intolerance is even
worse. Okay, that's what I mean. Because violence can only be sustained by a lie, and that lie by another lie, which provokes violence. To sustain it. Because
the Sultan, remember on this program, you recall that the Sultan directed Mieti Allah. He gave Mieti Allah 2 months.
2 months.
To find killer herdsmen.
Amongst them.
You remember?
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
That the ultimatum was given on April 18, which means that it is time for the Sultan to call the Mieti Allah people and say, okay, I gave you an ultimatum.
Alpha.
Who are those people that you have identified as killers? But remember the Emir of Anka in Zamfara State. Also, in anger after the attack on 2 of the communities in his domain, he said, Fulani leaders need to do something quickly, that these killings are too much, and it is their people that they are mentioning. The Emir of Anka story is there on the internet. He said, you must do something, you are leaders, you must do something.
Purge yourself. Purge yourself.
So what is happening?
It's a tragedy of the highest proportion that we are talking about this kind of thing in 2018.
Yeah, you are helping us to bury this. Take it home.
So I think everything still boils down to the fact that the buck stops at the president's table as the commander-in-chief. You cannot employ a housemaid who keep burning the soup, and you keep retaining that housemaid. He or she must go.
You don't put an enemy in the kitchen.
Don't put an enemy anywhere.
Nobody does.
I won't set the kitchen ablaze.
Or in the entire house.
By his carelessness.
So the president must know that this is his legacy. Because there's a joke somewhere on social media that somebody said what will be written on the president's epitaph that this was the president under whom 1 million people were killed. And he drew it down, and it was so instructive. Because whether he likes it or not, this will define
these killings are a stain on the president.
Exactly. I think the president must find a way to sort this thing out. Because just like you said, he must leave a legacy. He must leave a legacy. You know, that is the only thing. So many of us that read the president when he was a military leader, and now he's a democratic leader. There are 2 different things that we are seeing now. So he has to nip this crisis, these killings in the bud.
It's not too late for the president to make change happen. He promised us change, and we have to see that change in the security of the country. It's not too late for him to do it. I'm confident that he can still come good, he can still secure us better, and he has to secure us better. Otherwise, we will not stop talking about it here.
Yeah. Mr. President, the killings in the country, especially in peacetime, supposed peacetime, beats the imagination. But then you can make decisions without the fear of what happens after the decisions you make. Wish you well. All right, then, still to come, it is no longer news that the Super Eagles have crashed out of Russia 2018.
Yeah.
JJ Okocha slams sloppy Odion Igalo as the team crashes out. We'll be back shortly. Okay then, welcome back. Football, or soccer's greatest showpiece, is the World Cup, and every FIFA affiliate federation fancies this country challenging for honors at the Mundial. Nigeria's fairy tale campaign at the 2018 Russia spectacle came to a hair-raising end on Tuesday when the Super Eagles were dismissed by the old enemy Argentina, also known as La Albiceleste, or the White and Sky Blues. With a loss and a win going into a make or break, I make and break decider of yesterday against an equally desperate for victory Argentina first 11, all the Super Eagles required was a draw, whether barren or score, to get to the knockout stage. Striker Odion Igalo blew a begging chance when it mattered most, and former skipper JJ Okocha is unhappy. Let me report that I have a correspondent, Ademola Lawrence, here. So you are at home abroad.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
So no longer news. You saw it coming?
Let me start by saying that wasn't something that Nigerians envisaged at this particular time. Why I said that was because after the match against Iceland, we thought there was a glimpse of hope for Nigeria to play Argentina. And if you look at, from all indications, it was looking like Argentina was going to snatch the day. Reason, I'll give you. Messi, the last time Messi scored at the World Cup was against Argentina in 2014.
It's Nigeria.
No, against Nigeria.
In 2014. That ended his 662 minutes goal drought in World Cup.
The same scoreline, 2-1.
3-2, as a matter of fact,
okay,
in 2014.
Okay, yeah.
That was the last time he scored. What also made it very remarkable for Argentina was the fact that Messi scored the 100th goal for Argentina at the 2018 FIFA World Cup. So it was something of a big deal to them.
So he had to score the 100th goal. Is that what you mean?
It was a big deal for them.
Yeah.
But why I said it was a glimpse of hope for Nigeria after Nigeria played Iceland, we thought that they would be able to do the same thing against Argentina. But looking at what happened yesterday, I was at the stadium, at the Teslim Balogun Stadium, covering the viewers live. That's
what I meant by you are at home abroad.
Yes,
yeah.
And from what I know, from what I got from people, it wasn't they didn't expect it, and at the same time, they thought that after some very controversial officiating from the ref, Nigeria should have, gotten, for example, a penalty against Kelechi Iheanacho. That Kelechi Iheanacho penalty probably should have stood. Some Nigerians felt that. And some, for example, Didier Drogba went to the social media and he was very, very vocal about it and said that the officiating of that match is a very bad one. That Nigeria would have been in the World Cup if not because of the officiating of the match. And at the same time, after the match yesterday, the atmosphere was just as if something happened. Nigeria is, when you talk about football, that is the only thing, that is one major thing that actually unites everybody.
I've heard that phrase before. I've heard it before. So you have heard that too?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one major thing that I've actually, make heavy.
Demola, before I get to the gentleman here, Demola, look at Africa's 5 teams there.
Yeah.
The problem of Africa's football is the ability to score when it matters most.
Or to defend it after.
Or and all the other four teams had this problem. Senegal were leading, and 4 or 5 minutes to go, they let go.
Okay, there's something.
Marksmanship is the name of the game.
Yes, there's something the Europeans have been able to do. I'll give you an example.
Which the Africans are not doing.
Yes, for example, when you go to, let me use Barcelona as an example. In Barcelona Football Club, when they're playing, for every player that goes on the pitch knows exactly where to man mark, who exactly to man mark. For every player that goes on the pitch, know exactly where to be. You know, so
we also talk about territorial marking
exactly.
as opposed to man marking.
There's also
Have
what
you heard?
Yes, there's also what we call zonal marking.
Zonal marking.
Do you understand?
For basketball.
No, it's in football. There's also what we call zonal marking. For example, against Iceland, that's one of the things Iceland did against Argentina. They did a zonal marking against Argentina. And I thought that would...
And lock the team down.
Exactly. And I thought Nigeria would be able to do that yesterday. But if you look, like you said, African teams have not been able to pull off strength when it matters.
Marksmanship.
Exactly.
The white team is playing, you can tell a goal is in the works.
Yes.
Not in Africa.
Let me give you an example. Yesterday, Odion Igalo, some people say that, okay, that he should have scored that goal, which I also...
You are saying he should not have.
I'm also saying that he should have. But don't forget, the defender there is also not dumb. At the same time, the defenders of Argentina, they're also not dumb, so they know exactly.
Let's find out now.
Yeah.
Jide, the video assistant referee, laudable, but it leaves the decision to the referee at the end of the day.
Yes, which has made it really controversial. For example, all those most people believe that the penalty that was awarded Iran against Portugal was wrongly awarded because the Iranian player actually nodded the ball onto the hand of the Portuguese player. What the rule says is that if your hand moves towards the ball, then it is deliberate handball, because handball that is not deliberate is not meant to be punished. So, but in this case, the guy's hand was stationary, and the Iranian player nodded the ball against his hand, and you awarded that penalty. It was harsh.
Jide, look at this. I hope the camera picks me. If you do this as a defender, and you are coming, you are an attacker, you are charging.
Your hand doesn't move towards the ball.
Good. You hit the ball against my hand. Yes. It's no penalty. That's it. Yeah.
It will be harsh to
But I'm saying the video, I played football, the video assistant referee does not tell you it's a penalty, it is not. It still leaves the decision to the referee.
Yes, because the referee has to go there. But the good thing is there have been occasions when the VAR stopped a potential act of injustice.
Yeah.
So it remains controversial because if the judgment of the referee is not good enough at the end of the day, it still stands.
That's it.
So in the case of Nigeria, yes, Kelechi Iheanacho was kicked in the head in the box. But our players, just as JJ said during the analysis of the match, our players didn't protest. Because it's the protest that would draw the attention of the referee.
And then
so
the
they
referee
need to have
does
a
that.
review. Because the referee, the game is played on a fast pace. The referees can't see every action. Sometimes the position of the referee means that it could be, his vision could be blocked. So he can't see everything. But in that case, we didn't really protest. And the guy didn't stay down. And the guy, even, you know, some players, if it had happened to Pepe, what's his name, the Portuguese, he would have been rolling on the ground like someone shot by a sniper. But in this case, this guy didn't act like something significant happened to him.
Oh, yeah.
So there was no pressure on the referee.
African spirit.
There was no pressure on the referee to call for a review. So we made that mistake there. Odion Igalo played poorly yesterday. He played like a pop team striker.
Jide, he should have buried that goal.
No, there were even two chances.
No, I'm seeing one.
Yes.
Do you know what? You needed a draw. That's all. Barren or score.
You know why it pains me? When I remember, because mistakes by defenders are meant to be punished in the game of football.
Yes, exactly.
The
Even
Croatian,
the referee protects
remember
strikers.
the error. Remember the error made by the goalkeeper of Argentina.
Okay, okay.
Look at the sweet volley with which the Croatian player responded. The goal that, yes, Caballero's goal, error. The goal that Odion Igalo missed was similar in terms of the positioning, and it was a sweet volley that he should have unleashed. But look at what he did. He couldn't even hit the post. That ball should have hit the post.
JB, yeah, quickly.
That particular style, that particular position was what Argentina used when we first met, when Siasia scored. It was the same one they used during the last World Cup.
The volley.
The same position, the same angle, and we just cannot seem to be able to curve the ball around the keeper.
So the beautiful ones are not here
No,
anymore.
they are here. They are not on the team.
Not on this table.
I'm a beautiful one.
Oh, come
No,
on.
the thing is, we have to look at the weakness of the team showed. We didn't have a creative midfielder who could really dictate the game.
Very late.
Yes.
So, Lawrence,
I also want to say that sometimes, you know, the issue of VAR, for example, this last match, there was a match before we came into the studio.
German match.
German against...
By the way, I hear they've been knocked out.
Yes, of course, they've been knocked out.
Again,
it was even Sweden against Mexico. There was a penalty. There was a foul, by Hernandez. He almost practically used his hand to kick the ball out. And the referee, of course, why sometimes the protest does not work, the players called for the protest, and the referee went to the VAR to check. And after the referee got to the VAR, he came back and he said it was not a penalty.
But that does not mean the protest didn't work. Yesterday, that ball, the guy hits Henacho with a boot to the head. It was a very clear distance. So if they had protested, it probably would have given us that penalty.
Sometimes, at the same time,
the mistake was not to protest.
The referee, I also think that the committee of referees, they started feeling like they are, they are like demigods to football before the introduction of VAR. They started, maybe somehow, they started contemplating about this VAR.
That's an assumption.
No, it's an assumption.
No, reason being that, I'm just saying, reason being that, if you look at it, the first round of matches, there was no controversy about this. The second round, the third round, the controversy began to come out.
Of course, because
they are human too.
They need to qualify.
They are also human.
They are human too. Look at if the Spanish players had not protested, because that goal looked like an offside to everyone.
Exactly.
If they had not protested, there's no way they would have been awarded that goal. So you must protest. It's part of what you have to do. You call for the review. It's just like in tennis. If you think that, okay, you hit maybe a passing shot, and they say it's out, you can call for a review.
Even in basketball, you
can call for a review. That review, the Hawkeye will show clearly whether it landed on the line or within.
JB, now again, let's do it with a flourish now.
Okay.
Africa's major problem is, the knack for goals. Only 3 countries in Africa, namely Cameroon, Senegal, and Ghana, have gotten to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Okay?
Ghana got that.
Yes.
Three. Let me stick with Ghana. In 2010, in South Africa, all Ghana required was a penalty to convert with just a few seconds to go. And he blew it. So marksmanship remains the bane of African football, which bring... I hear we have a call. All right, so I'll get detail. Bamidele is here. Bamidele, I greet you. How are you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go on.
Yeah. Gentlemen, you've been doing a very good job on the analysis of the Eagles match, and I appreciate it. Actually, Igalo is a spent force, personally. All the matches you have played that Igalo has participated, he has never done well.
No talk so. The man does score goals before for the country.
He has not been able to shoot at goal. Then 2, that the Green Eagles did not complain when Inacho was hit on the head was not true. The Eagles captain actually complained.
No.
Go back and watch it. Go back and watch it.
Pictures don't tell lies.
Go back
and
and
besides,
watch it.
they are not green eagles. They are now
They are
super
Super
eagles.
Eagles.
They stopped bringing green eagles in
Which is
1994.
subject.
But let me go like this. What is, let's talk about soccer development in this country.
Yeah.
Decree 101 is still running football in this country. It's improper. Or what do you say?
Oh, okay. I think, okay, let me start from this point of view. When you talk about grassroots football, some people will say that, okay, we need to start, developing football from the cadre level, from under 13, under 15, under 17. But the problem is that what is the progression rate? That's another issue. Then when we go from under 13 to under 15, how consistent are we? Can we be there from under 15 to under 17, from under 17 to under 21, under 21 to under 23? How consistent are these guys? Now, if you look at for example, let me use an example. The Nigerian match against Atletico Madrid. Look at all those guys. They are majorly under 21, 20, 21.
They are youth team.
Yeah, youth. Do you understand? Now, the challenge is, can we progress from that? Those youth, those guys.
I hope you got me from the beginning.
No, you didn't.
Decree 101.
You didn't.
No. Decree 101 means the government must determine who is chairman of FA, secretary general, and all that.
Technical advisor.
Do you know the name of the Minister of Sports in England? No.
No.
But you know,
Yeah, of course.
So that's the problem. I'm saying we don't need a Decree 101.
And
Football has no business to do with. How did GD and GKB, how did the Premiership come? Lady Thatcher called this businessman, my friend, give me a league that will do wonders.
Money.
That's it. And
people run the game in England are likely lawyers, business people.
Businessmen.
They are not necessarily people who play the game. A lot of them never play the game.
And look at club owners.
These are people who because they are running it like a business, purely as a business, and that's why the English league remains the best organized in the world. So and they are making the kind of money that other leagues do not make.
Yeah.
So they've been able to run it consistently as a fantastic piece of business. That is what we should be doing. We have a dearth of talents. There was a time when in the top 3, the best players in Africa will come from Nigeria.
Exactly.
And every year when this one passes, it will pass it on to someone else. We had the Kweba, we had the Yekini, all of them becoming, Kano, becoming Africa's best player. But today, that's no longer happening. The best player on that, rated in the Nigerian team is Moses.
Victor Moses.
If Moses is our best player, based on that rating, the African rating, something is wrong.
GKB, and when was the last time you heard a Nigerian was a referee at any competitive game? He don't tell.
I never grew beard.
It tells you of underscores the rot in the system.
It's across board.
Because the 101 is essentially for government to keep a hold on sports.
Rightly or wrongly?
Wrongly. Based on the fact that Obasanjo sold off everything but football.
If not because FIFA even punishes us sometimes with suspension, it will have continued.
I think, but I need to make a case for African brothers and ourselves. While it is general that we lack discipline, conceding goals very late is not
peculiar to us.
So you have to then
it's a function of the determination of the opponent.
Securing a lead in a competitive game, especially at this stage, is a tall order.
Yeah, but a lot of countries are doing it. They are losing matches.
Don't tell me because Germany don't lose, we must lose.
They considered their goal in the less than 3 minutes to the end.
Are they copying us?
And they now
are they copying us?
Are they Africans?
No, this happens. In 1986, Morocco lost in the second round of the World Cup to a free kick by Lothar Matthias. That free kick was scored around the 87th minute. Morocco was the first African team to reach the second round of the World Cup.
Okay, let the debate continue, but let me thank our boys. Gentlemen, I've heard this from a crank. It says FIFA means football isn't for Africa.
Africa.
So the politics continue.
We are bad losers, guys.
I don't know about that.
We are bad losers.
If that Ghanaian boy had scored this penalty that day,
It
wouldn't
was the referee that denied him the right to kick it inside.
Oh.
All right, GKB, thank you for coming.
It's always a pleasure.
Ademola Lawrence,
Thank you very
next
much.
time we'll send you to Qatar. You must go there.
All right, thank you.
And Babajide Otitoja, I greet you, sir.
Thank you so much.
So that's it for today. But do watch a repeat of this broadcast at 11 this evening, and also watch Journalists Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel remains the same. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye for now. See you.